Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 5. We will present the impact of social media addictions among youth in Malaysia. My name is Mirza Hakimi bin Elmi. Together with me is Muhammad Hafizi bin Adnan, Iman Syahmi bin Saharul Nizam, Muhammad Asfar Farhan bin Ismail, and Muhammad Idham bin Ahmad Zulfakar.
The mental health of university students in Malaysia is a growing concern due to rising academic and social pressure. In the digital era, factors influencing psychological well-being have shifted toward virtual platforms. Undergraduates are the most active demographic on online platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and X. While this network enhances connectivity, extensive usage can lead to negative psychological outcomes such as stress, anxiety, and depression. Beyond social media addiction, the fear of missing out or FOMO creates persistent emotional distress as students struggle to follow online trends. Therefore, this study examines the impact of social media usage, addiction, and FOMO on the mental health of Malaysian undergraduates to guide effective university support system. Using social media too much has caused serious worries among young people. Spending too much on this platform is directly linked to higher anxiety and depression. Additionally, social media addiction brings bad results, especially in ruining sleep quality and lowering academic performances. Besides normal usage, the fear of missing out or FOMO makes emotional stress worse through constant online comparison with others. While past studies have looked at these three factors separately, there is a very little research testing their combined effect together. Therefore, the study filled that gap by looking at how social media usage, addiction, and FOMO and all together affect the mental health of Malaysian young.
Thank you. I'm Asfar and I'll be guiding you through our research question, objective, and the significance of this study. To deeply understand how digital behaviors impact the psychological well-being of the younger generation, our research is anchored around three primary research questions. First, we seek to understand what the significant relationship between general social media usage and mental health issue among university students in Malaysia. Second, moving beyond general usage, we want to examine the more compulsive side of technology by asking what the significant relationship is between social media, addiction, and mental health issue within this same student demographic. Finally, our third research question looks at the psychological phenomenon of the fear of missing out or FOMO, investigating its specific significant relationship with mental health issue among Malaysian students. Corresponding directly with the question we have just established, we have formulated three key research objectives that this study sets out to achieve. Our first objective is to investigate the significant relationship between social media usage and mental health issue among university students in Malaysia, which will help us establish the baseline impact of daily digital habits. Our second objective shift focus towards behavioral pattern, aiming to investigate the significant relationship of social media addiction on mental health issue among these university students. Lastly, our third objective is to investigate the significant relationship of FOMO on mental health issue among Malaysian university students. By systematically achieve these three objectives, our study aims to bridge crucial gaps in current behavior framework. This brings me directly to the overarching significance of our study. This study methods, we can break down its core significance into two major domains, namely the academic and the practical contribution. From an academic contribution standpoint, a major limitation in past literature is that researchers have predominantly evaluated social media usage and addiction and FOMO as separate, isolated variables. Our research offers a major academic stride by integrating all these three critical variables into one comprehensive unified framework. By doing so, we provide fresh, localized empirical evidence specifically tailored to the Malaysian youth context. This comprehensive approach will serve as a highly reliable, up-to-date benchmark for future researchers who wish to explore the evolving landscape of digital psychology in Southeast Asia from a practical contribution standpoint. Our findings hold tangible real-world value for policymakers, educators, and mental health professionals alike. The data collected from this study can assist regulatory bodies like MCMC, as well as the Ministry of Health in designing targeted awareness programs, digital well-being guidelines, and timely mental health intervention. Ultimately, this research provides the necessary insight to promote healthier, more responsible social media practices among our youth, safeguarding their mental well-being.
The scope of this study is focused on specific variables and boundaries. The independent variables being tested are social media usage, social media addiction, and the fear of missing out or FOMO. Meanwhile, the dependent variable is mental health issues. For the participants, this research strictly targets university students in Malaysia. Geographically, the location of data collection is restricted to selected public universities across the country. By focusing only on these digital habit and psychological factors, this study excludes external influence like physical health or biological history to give a clear picture of how online behavior affects student well-being.
For chapter 2, I will start with the conceptual framework. This conceptual framework serves as a foundation of our research because it illustrates the relationship between the variables that we are investigating. In this study, we have three independent variables, which is social media usage, social media addiction, and fear of missing out, or in other words, is FOMO. These are the factors that may influence the outcome of our research. The dependent variable is the mental health issue among university students in Malaysia. This includes problems such as stress, anxiety, depression, and emotional well-being. The first independent variable is social media usage, which refers to how often and how long the student use social media platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and WhatsApp. This usage may increase the stress and reduce psychological well-being of the student. The second variable is social media addiction. Unlike normal usage, addiction refers to the inability to control social media use. Students may spend too much time online and neglect their study, and this will cause them to have a poor sleep quality and become more emotional dependent on the social media usage. The third variable is fear of missing out or FOMO is a feeling where anxiety on the student when they think they are missing the important part of event or experience that shared by others on social media. This FOMO often lead to students to constantly check their phone and compare themselves with others, which may negatively affect their mental health. Based on this framework, we propose that all three independent variables have a direct relationship with mental health issue. Therefore, our study aims to determine whether these factors significantly influence the mental health of university students in Malaysia.
Next, I will explain the hypothesis development of this study. First, for hypothesis 1, previous studies have consistently shown that social media usage is significantly related to mental health issue. Individuals who spend more time on social media are more likely to experience problems such as stress, anxiety, and depression. Based on this finding, this study proposed that social media usage has a significant relationship with mental health issue. Next, for hypothesis 2, previous research indicates that social media addiction has a stronger negative impact on mental health. Excessive dependence on social media is associated with higher level of stress, anxiety, depression, and loneliness among users. Therefore, this study proposed that social media addiction has a significant relationship with mental health issues. To conclude, for hypothesis 3, our study found that fear of missing out or FOMO is another important factor affecting mental health. Individuals with higher level of FOMO are more likely to experience anxiety, depression, and social anxiety because they constantly feel the need to stay connected and updated on social media. Therefore, this study proposed that FOMO has a significant relationship with mental health issue. In conclusion, based on previous research, this study developed three hypotheses to examine the relationship between the three independent variables, which is social media usage, social media addiction, and FOMO, and mental health issue as the dependent variable.
For the chapter 3, I will explain about the research methodology. First, our study use quantitative research design because the objective is to examine the relationship between several variables using numerical data and statistical analysis. Specifically, this research adopt a correlational and cross-sectional design. A correlational design is used to determine whether there is a significant relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable. Meanwhile, a cross-sectional design means that the data is collected from respondent at only one point in the time rather than over a long time period. The data for this study were collected through an online questionnaire using Google Form, and the response were analyzed using SPSS software. Next is the population and sampling. The target population of the study consists of university students in Malaysia who actively use social media. Since it is difficult to collect data from the entire population, we selected a sample that represents the target group. This study uses a convenient sampling technique, which is a non-probability sampling method. Respondents were selected based on their accessibility and willingness to participate by answering the online questionnaire. Finally, for the sample size, this study collected response from 37 respondents. All respondents are university students who use social media regularly. Although the sample size is relatively small, it is sufficient for this primary study and allow us to perform a statistically analysis using SPSS to examine the relationship between the variables. In summary, the research methodology ensure that the data collected are appropriate for achieving the objective of the study.
Next, I will explain the questionnaire design used in this study. The questionnaire consists of 6 sections. Section A contains 2 demographic questions, while Section B includes 2 screening questions to ensure that the respondents are active university or college students and current users of social media. Next, for the Section C, focuses on the dependent variable, which is mental health. Meanwhile, Section D, E, and F measure the 3 independent variables: social media addiction, social media usage, and fear of missing out, or FOMO. Each variable is measured using 5 questionnaire items. All of the questionnaire items were adopted from previous study to ensure the validity and reliability of the research instrument. Finally, all measurement items use a 5-point Likert scale ranging from 1 strongly disagree to 5 strongly agree to measure the respondent level of agreement with each statement.
Next, let's look at our technique of data analysis, which we divided into 3 phases. In phase 1, we conduct the normality test and the reliability test. The main objective here is to clean up our data and make sure that it's completely suitable, consistent, and reliable before we proceed with any further advanced analysis. Moving on to the phase 2, we use frequency analysis and descriptive statistics, focusing mainly on the mean score and the standard deviations. Our objective in this phase is to break down the demographic profile of our 37 respondents, such as their gender and age, and to summarize how they generally responded to our survey questions. Finally, in the phase 3, we run the Pearson correlations analysis and multiple regressions analysis. The primary objective of this final phase is to actually test our hypothesis and examine the direct relationship that our independent variables, social media additions, social media usage, and FOMO, have our dependent variable, which is a mental health issue. For our research proposal on social media addictions among Malaysia youth, we analyzed data from 37 respondents, mostly males aged 21 to 25. Our preliminary tests showed that while the data is not perfectly normal for squeamish and courtesies, our survey questions are highly reliable. Social media addictions, FOMO and mental health are scored well above 0.80, while social media usage was acceptable at 0.629. Looking at the correlations result to our test hypothesis, we found that both hypothesis 1 and hypothesis 2 were not supported. This means general social media addictions and social media usage do not significantly impact on mental health since their p-value are higher than 0.05. However, hypothesis 3 was supported. Fear of missing out or FOMO is the only factor with a significant relationship to mental health, with a p-value of 0.044. Ultimately, this proves that just spending time online is not the issue. It is the psychological anxiety of feelings left out that truly harms our youth well-being. That's all from me. Thank you.